सनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जमुदीरयेत्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Hari Om. Welcome to chapter 5 on this 22nd day of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Gita commented upon by Swami Chinmayananda. So this fifth chapter, in chapter 2, the disturbed mind of Arjuna could not definitely come to a decision whether action had any place at all in life or spiritual seeking. Here in this chapter, the Pandava prince Arjuna only asks which of the two, renunciation of action or participation in action, which is greater. To Arjuna, karma meant the Vedic ritualism such as yajnas, yagas and homas, and sannyasa meant renunciation of everything and total retirement to the Himalayan jungle, living in constant inactivity, a strange life of self-denial and perhaps conscious self-persecution. Gurudev says, we have already found in the previous chapter how the elaborate ritualisms called yajnas have been brought out from the glass houses of secrecy. Very beautiful poetical expression. The yajnas have been brought out from the glass houses of secrecy and cellars of artificial sanctity into the broad daylight of everyday activity. So the actual meaning of yajnas were brought out in the previous chapter. Not just homas and havans, but any activity that we do without identification as I am the doer of the action, and this is a particular result that I am looking for in this action. Without those ideas, just giving ourselves and doing the work. To whip out man of his sleepy inertia, vigorous activity is advised here as a first step. Inertia is thus invigorated into the agitations of dynamic activity, rajas. This state is again to be transcended through a process of non-egocentric divine activities undertaken in the spirit of goodwill and love for all, especially termed in Gita as yajna. Thus sublimated, the individual reaches a certain amount of tranquility and peace, purity and joy, sattva. In this mental composure alone can one meditate properly to reach the frontiers of the finite and experience a state of infinite. So tamas is you can take it to desire plus activity, and once there is desire and activity, then you move on to rajas, where there is desirelessness and activity, and that will lead to sattva, which is doing karma as yoga. In sattva, renouncing karma also, giving up activity and then seeking after liberation. So this is the process towards liberation through karma. The mantras are wonderful. The mantras in the Vedas are wonderful praises. The mantra bhaga. The Aranyaka is a upasana kanda. The Brahmanas are the actions for selfish desire, self-fulfillment of selfish desires. Aranyakas are the upasana kanda. The Upanishad is giving up that too and seeking after who am I, who is the self. This theory of self-development in three definite stages of the desire-prompted activities, desireless activities, and finally pure meditation is not an original contribution of the Bhagavad Gita or Veda Vyasa in the Mahabharata. Even here, we find that it is only an intelligent reinterpretation of the technique already given in the Vedas. The mantra portion of the Vedas expresses an all-absorbing sense of wonderment of the deluded At the sight of nature's vastness in strength and beauty, the Brahmana portion of the Vedas describes ways and means by which ritualistic actions can be undertaken for the satisfaction of one's material desires. After the Brahmana portion, there is in all the textbooks of the Vedas a clear sanction called the Aranyakas, which prescribe varieties of worship methods called the Upasanas, which are to be taken by pure minds uncontaminated by any desire. These desireless activities, yajnas, make fine adjustments in the mind and intellect equipment of the seekers and provide them to win a pair of wings with which they can fly across the finite straight into the realms of the infinite. So, this is chapter 5. The Vedas are the flower and Gita is the fruit. Activity in life intelligently undertaken as a means to reach the highest spiritual consummation. So, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is indicating the supreme goal of perfection, exhausts himself into the following two chapters, meaning chapter 5 and chapter 6. The whole part of Karma Yoga will be over with these two chapters. So, chapter 3 talks about doing action, the right way of doing action. Chapter 4 talks about doing action, but with the purpose of reaching knowledge, jnana, knowledge of the self. That is only the chapter 4. And it talks about Bhagavan and his avatara and the different types of yajnas, different types of actions we can do and how we take up the action as far as knowledge of the self. We reach the point where we are working towards realization of the self. That is being spoken about. In chapter 5, renunciation of action is being spoken about. And in chapter 6, after renouncing action, what should I do? Sit and meditate upon that truth, that reality. That is chapter 6. So chapter 5 stands as a bridge between karma yoga and pure meditation. In the Vedas, the subtle point in the chain of discussions is almost missing. Chapter 5 of the Gita rediscovers for us this missing link in the Vedic thought. I have said rediscovers, Gurudev says, and not deliberately creates or originally supplies. Dropping actions or doing actions, actions well. Which is greater? That's a question of Arjuna in the first verse. Arjuna uvacha sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yachreya yetayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna says, sannyasam, giving up all actions, or karmanam, giving up all actions and going towards liberation, or doing action, Krishna, punar yogam cha shamsasi. You talk about sannyasa in the second chapter. He told great is the Sankhya Yoga, and then you talk about karma, and then again you talk about yoga, karma yoga, shamsasi, you are praising. Yat shreyaha, which is greater, etayoho ekam, among the two, sannyasa and karma yoga, which is greater, tanme bruhi sunishchitam. That you talk to me very clear. You decide it. He is not actually making fun of Krishna, or he is not demanding from Krishna that he be better clear, and then he tell me no. As a student, he is asking, you please tell me first, because the student is having a doubt. The teacher says sannyasa is greater, but then he says you do action, and you tell also karma yoga is greater. In chapter 4, he talks about karma yoga, and chapter 3. Now, yat shreyaha etayoho ekam. You tell me which is greater, one among the two. Tanme bruhi sunishchitam, which is very clearly pronounced by you. You tell. Action being in the line with his own nature. Arjuna is an active person. He is a Raja. Rajas is there. Rajas means movement and activity. Dynamic activity is his nature. Arjuna very joyously and almost instinctively accepts the path of action indicated by Lord Krishna in the two previous chapters. Arjuna, however, has not yet grown to be at complete rest with himself. To him, there seems to be a repeatedly jarring note in Krishna's discourse, in as much as there is a constant undertone, often very clear, in which Krishna insists that renunciation of action is nobler and diviner than all yajna actions. Earlier, Krishna said that renouncing all actions, giving up all actions, is greater than even yajna actions. So, this query is coming from Arjuna. The Pandava prince concludes that Krishna is giving him a free choice between two independent ways of living, selfless action and renunciation of action. He therefore requests Krishna to indicate to him it is not inaction, non-action, and being a sannyasi. The choice is between selfless action and renunciation, giving up all actions. He therefore requests Krishna to indicate to him decisively one definite path of self-perfection by which he can positively achieve his spiritual fulfillment. Renunciation of action or full participation in action are two different exercises to be practiced serially and not simultaneously. So the theme is elaborated further in the second verse. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Sanyasah Karma Yogascha Nishreyasakaravubhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Bhagavan is very intelligent. Like that mother, no? If you give the choice to the child, you want puri or you want idli, the child will say puri because the child likes puri. The mother says, you've got puri or roti. What is it that you want? Then the child will say puri. The mother will, it is not puri or roti, both are not made. Only the dough is made. The dough has to be separated and has to be done. So the mother is not giving choice between idli and puri. The mother is giving choice between puri and chapati. So puri means puri and chapati, the process is almost the same. Up to the making, the puri will be a lesser round. The chapati will be a bigger round. The puri has to be fried in oil and the chapati has to be put in the tawa and roasted and given. So the child does not have much of a choice between the two. In the same way, Bhagavan does not give choice for, he does not say idli. He does not say resign from action and go. He is telling action without attachment and action with attachment. That is the choice. The choice is whether you want to do action with attachment for your desires or action without attachment. Shri Sanyasaha Karma Yogascha Nishreya Sakaravubhau. Both sannyasa, it is not sannyasa means renouncing everything. He is not talking about that. He is sannyasa and karma yoga, nishreya sakara. They take us to the ultimate. Ayostu karma sannyasat. Giving up karma is more than giving up karma. Karma yoga vishishyate. To do action is greater. He has actually told something in chapter 2, but now he is giving a completely different perspective to Arjuna. He wants Arjuna to take up action. He says, more than giving up actions, doing action is greater. How to renounce the egoistic actions and take up selfless actions. So to summarize, we may say the third stage of development is accomplished through meditation in chapter 6. To summarize, we may say that the spiritual process of self-evolution fall into 3 stages. Desire prompted activity, when the person is only in tamas, sleeping all the time and lazy and not doing anything, to that person a little bit, wow, if I do this, I will get this. So desire prompted activity, he will wake up. That is how children are sent to school. You know, when you go to school, children like to play. Who likes to go to school? Are children born wanting to go to school? They have to be coaxed to go to school. So from the playing and the laziness at home in which they spend their time, the children are given some kind of an incentives to go to school. And then after they go to school and they go to first standard, the choice is not to go to school or stay at home. The choice is to go to school and focus on getting first rank, or just focus on studying and doing your studies well. So that is only the choice that's given. The same way, desire prompted activity, selfless dedicated activity means without any thought that what will I get out of this, just focusing on doing actions, focusing on the process of actions. And then the third is quiet meditation, that is jnana. Essentially, here the Pandava warrior is full of vasanas, and for the exhaustion, he has to act in the battlefield. If we have a lot of vasanas, we have to do action and exhaust it. The third verse, Jneyassa nityaka sanyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Jneyaha, know that person to be an eternal sannyasi, nitya sannyasi. Who is that person? Yo na dveshti na kankshati. He does not have any kind of a hatred, or he does not have any kind of a desire. Yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvaha hi mahabaho. Such a sannyasi is free of all the dualities and polarities of life. Mahabaho, O strong shouldered Arjuna, sukham bandhat pramuchyate. He very comfortably, he very easily, comfortably frees himself from bondage. Bondage of what? Bondage of identification with the I thought. I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect. He freely is able to disidentify himself with the body, mind, and intellect by, if he does not have dvesha and raga. Raga is attachment to something, dvesha is hatred for something. According to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he is a sannyasi who neither likes nor dislikes. It is not the robes that make the sannyasi. If the person lives his life without any particular likes and dislikes for anything, and just going about his routine day-to-day work, whatever is expected of him to do, he just delivers that, he is a sannyasi. Likes and dislikes, success and failure, joy and sorrow, and such other pairs of opposites are the wheels on which the mind rolls forward, earning the experiences of life. The mind is like a six-wheel wagon. The wheels are likes and dislikes, failure and joy, failure and success, joy and sorrow. Or an eight-wheeled wagon, mana apamana, like censure and praise. So when these wheels are running, the mind is moving forward, and it is moving forward in a circular motion in samsara. It's like that train, the children, we get a train, toy train. All the rails will be, you have to attach all the rails, and then you have to keep the train. The battery will be on. The train will run round and round and round in the track, the circular track it goes. That is only samsara. The mind is that wagon, and the wheels are all this joy and sorrow, likes and dislikes, failure and success, censure and praise. So to free oneself from the pair of opposites is not the train cannot do it on its own. If the train has to be separated from the track, the train has to finish its journey, and somebody else has to come and remove the track and the train. Only then the detachment will happen. So if I want moksha, if I want liberation, the track and the train has to be gently separated, without any hurting, without any accident, or without any derailment. By thus defining a sannyasi, Krishna is not trying to paint a dreary picture of hopelessness for the seekers. He has in mind the growth and development of Arjuna. The Pandava prince was then having in his intellect thick vasana coatings of heroic instincts, kingly impulses for action. This stanza is given in order to persuade him to keep away from a hasty dash into sannyasa. I am not the doer. Sankhya is give up the desire for the fruit. Sankhya says, I am not the doer of action, and also gives up the desire for fruits. The fourth verse, Sankhya Yogau Prithak Balaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapyasthita Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya and yoga are different. You are telling Sankhya, now you are telling yoga. That is different, this is different. Prithak balaha, only children will talk like that. Pravadanti, na panditaha pravadanti. Prakarshena vadanti. Panditas, or the people who have knowledge, don't talk that way. Ekamapi astitaha samyak. Even if staying steadily in one, either in knowledge or in karma, ubhayor vindate phalam. The individual person who tries to uplift himself attains the goals, attains the results of both. It can either be done by the renunciation of the concept of agency in every action, meaning I am the doer of the action. It is just removed, as if you remove some, like you remove a thread from, when you tie a, when you are putting a rubber band inside something, when you're putting a rubber band inside a taped cloth, and gently you remove the rubber band completely. In the same way, the sense of agency, like when you are tying when you're tying a thread to a skirt, you put the thread inside and you pull it on both sides, then the skirt will shrink, right? So to pull out the thread gently, when you pull out the thread gently, the skirt cannot shrink or expand. It will be in its original position. The ego is like that. The agency, the sense of agency is like the thread. You remove that sense of agency, then the functionality of the cloth as a skirt will be lost. But here we are talking of the same sense of agency in action. Pull it out gently, like as if you are pulling out the thread. It can either be done by renunciation of the concept of agency in every action, or by consistent refusal to get dissipated by our unintelligent preoccupation with our anxieties for the fruits of our action. So, consistent refusal to get dissipated by our unintelligent preoccupation with our anxiety for the results. I have done this work, I've done this work. What is going to be the result? What is going to be the result of the election? What is going to be the future of Tamil Nadu? It is not our job. The work has been done, the voting has been done, then we have to focus on what is our next work that we have to do at home, whether it is boiling milk or sweeping the floor. We have to attend to that. Not what did Vijay do in Delhi. Which minister spoke to him? Which minister did not speak to him? Which party went this today? Which party went yesterday? It is not our job. It is the job of the chief minister and the job of the prime minister, the job of the army, navy and air force, and they're all on their posts. And we can do our sadhana, we can do our karma yoga in our homes, or if nothing is there, we can do dhyana or meditation and then go to sleep. That much of time only is there in every day. We did not worry about so many things in this world. Our life becomes very simple. How can a man obtain the Prathak balaha pravadanti na panditaha? Only balas, only children talk about Sankhya and Yoga as separately, as was said in the previous word. The fifth verse, Yat Sankhyahi prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam Sankhyam cha yogam cha yaf pashyati sa pashyati. Now there is a little bit of a more confusion. He said Sankhya is greater, and then he said for you should do karma yoga in second chapter. In third chapter, he spoke about the glory of karma yoga. In the fourth chapter, he explained about how to do actions by renouncing the results of the action and focusing on the different sadhanas. And now he is telling Sankhya and yoga take us to the goal. Then I can do anything, right? Arjuna can ask, if Sankhya and yoga can take me to the goal, I can choose the easier path, right? So here he is saying Sankhya, the place where you reach by Sankhya, you can reach by yoga also. Yet Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam cha Sankyam cha yogam cha yaf pashyati sa pashyati. Both Sankhya and yoga are the same. Whoever sees, sees. So it is just that Arjuna's mind is having doubts. When there is a question in the seeker's mind, then the teacher has to put that mind in the washing machine. Once it has gone into the washing machine, the twists and turns of the washing machines are the different verses. Like at one moment he will say Sankhya and Yoga are the same. The other moment he will say you should do Karma Yoga. Then he says even if you do Karma Yoga, you should do it without attachment to the results and attachment to the identity of the doer. These are all the different twists and turns in the washing machine that the mind is going through. And then he will say both Sankhya and Yoga finally same only. The same cloth is going to get washed and the same cloth only is going to be dried. And then he says even though they are same, the path that the Sankhya takes only Yoga is going to take. Now if somebody is really keenly listening to all this, he's going to get really very irritated with what Krishna says. How is that the aim of Karma Yoga and Sannyasa are the same? Bhagavan is explaining in the 6th verse. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptuma yogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadi gacchati. He says both are same only. But only sannyasa, by giving up of action, it is very difficult. Giving up of action is like committing suicide. Committing suicide means when you have the body, the physical body, and there is a lot of cold. Okay, the temperature is very cold. The experiences are what we are talking about in the subtle body. So in the subtle body, there is the experience of cold. In the physical body, you have, like for example, when somebody is feeling very cold and they are having a sweater and a shawl, they are protected from the cold. Suicide is like when when there is cold weather, removing the shawl and removing the sweater and just walking alone in the cold weather, that is only suicide. This like the physical body is there, then you have the protection of your surroundings, your family, your this whole earth, all the members, all the people on this earth, all the people on the planet are all our shields and protection in earth. Suicide is like removing the body, removing the sweater, and removing all the support systems and standing alone. What will happen? Will we be protected after that? No, the cold, the experience of all the difficulties will be more because we don't have the protective covering. So, sannyasa, giving up actions, is like, relinquishing all work. When we do some work, then the possibility for our mind to get streamlined is much higher than when we give up all work. When we give up all work, we will have to work very hard to streamline the mind. As long as work is there, it is much easier. Siddhir bhavati karmaja, he said in chapter 3. As long as work is there, it is much easier to quieten the mind, streamline the mind, provided the work is done without identification of I am the doer of the action and this is the result of the action that I want. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha. For the one who does not have this kind of a discipline, sannyasa, the life of sannyasa is very difficult because so many temptations and so many pleasures and so many situations will come in life and we don't know how to handle those situations. But yoga yuktaha munihi, the one muni, the manana shilavan iti munihi, the one independent thinker or contemplative person who is yoga yuktaha, who has controlled the sense organs, brought the sense objects into the subjective mind's control, yoga yuktaha munihi brahma na achirena adhigacchati. Such a person, he attains that state of knowledge very, very fast. So Gurudev explains here very beautifully, without performance of action, the renunciation of action is impossible. I cannot renounce action without performing action. It is like a beggar saying, I've given up all my wealth. He did not have any wealth in the first place. What is there to give up? So, to give up, you need something to give up. That is, I think, there was a Swami Sarvapriyananda from Ramakrishna Mutt. There is a Dr. K. He very nice videos, and he wanted to become a sannyasi. When he was around 22 years itself, I think he went to Ramakrishna Swamiji in Bengaluru, and said, I want to become a sannyasi, and that I want to give up everything. So the Swamiji has told, what is there to give up right now? You don't have anything to give up. You should have something to give up. You go into the world, you make a life for yourself, and then you can renounce and take up sannyasa. And so he got married, and he became he is now a very famous psychiatrist in this on the YouTube field also. He gives a lot of talks. And so what is sannyasa? Sannyasa is very difficult for a person who is ayoga. He is not, his mind and the mind and intellect are not integrated. So for such a person, sannyasa is a very difficult path. Yoga yuktaha, but for the one who is integrated in yoga, na achirena adhigacchati, it becomes very easy. So Gurudev says this with a beautiful example of cleaning. In this sense, the polishing of the mind is a process very similar to that by which we clean metalware by using metal polish. The item that is darkened by time in the metalware is purified by applying some polishing chemical on its surface. The polish is the solvent of the oxide that is covering the brilliance of the vessel. The very oxide, the solvent of that oxide is this polish. And after a time, when we remove the coating of the polish, we find that not only the chemical polish removed, is a chemical polish removed, but the black oxide is also removed, thereby leaving the vessel bright and attractive. Similarly, the mind can be purified only by the process of treating it with right action. You purify the mind with karma first. Karma means action. Thus, when treated, the mind gets purified from its vasana blemishes. It is very, very easy to understand all these concepts of Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishad also from the standpoint of material objects and action. So it's the explanation is so beautiful. When thus treated, the mind gets purified from its vasana blemishes. Vasana blemishes are like the oxide covering in the metalware, and with such a purified mind, and when it is treated with a solvent of that oxide, the vasana also goes, and when it is washed, that solvent is also washed away, and the metalware remains very clear and beautiful. Such a purified mind alone during deeper meditation hours. See, when we say the self, to give it the example of this brass lamp, so the brass lamp with the oxide is with the vasanas of the mind. And then the solvent is the karma of the work of polishing it. When the solvent removes the oxide and the solvent is washed and the oxide is washed, the brass metal remains as it is. And the self reveals itself means that the light in the atmosphere is falling on the brass vessel. Even when it was covered with all this oxide, it was falling, but the light was not shining evidently. But now when all the oxide is removed, the light is shining evidently. That much only difference is there in self-realization. So we are able to, what is realization? Realization is not telling that I am a realized person, I am so bright and shining. No, the realized person becomes a very humble person. All the rough edges, the rough patches, the vasanas have all left. And so the person is shining in all his glory. Similarly, the mind can be purified only by the process of treating it with the right action. Thus, when thus treated, the mind gets purified from its vasana blemishes, and with such a purified mind alone can we, during deeper meditation hours, come to renounce all activities. Before this preparation, if we try to renounce activities, we may remain physically inactive, but mentally very active. If we do not prepare ourselves, if the If the brassware with all the oxide is just getting collecting up with other brassware, the whole place will start sinking. Even though it is such a precious thing, the whole place where it is stored will be so ugly to look at, and it will increase in its tamas. So it is very important to lift it out and start polishing from the outside. When the polishing from the outside happens completely, then the light shines from within without very beautifully. Before this preparation, if we try to renounce activities, suppose we just tell all the brassware is lying there, it is all very dirty and covered with that oxide. We renounce activity. We don't clean up. We don't clean up that glassware. How can the lighting of a lamp in a dirty metal ware, how can it be a great thing to watch? It is not going to be great. So sannyasa is like lighting that lamp. Simple as that. Sannyasa is lighting that lamp of that metal ware, metal lamp. So karma yoga is like wiping the lamp, cleaning the lamp, making it fit and making it beautiful, and then you strike the match, you put a little bit of that karpura, the camphor at the end of the wick, and then you light a lamp, then it is the glory for the world to see. It induces meditation in people. Such a person, wherever they go, whatever they do, whatever they speak, people will feel very meditative. That is sannyasa yoga. Extrovertedness of mind is not conducive to the inner polishing. In fact, extrovertedness is the very mud that sullies the godly beauty and the strength of the mind. Extrovertedness of the mind means the brassware becoming more dirty. It is going into more and more grease and more dirty places. It is being kept and dunked and kept there. That is called extrovertedness. Karma yoga is polishing the brassware. Jnana yoga is simply lighting the lamp. One strike, the lamp is lit, and after that there is nothing to be done. Only jnana eva kaivalyam. Jnana deva kaivalyam means that is what is called moksha. So it's very, very beautiful example, and it's very easy to understand, I hope. 7th verse, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriyaha Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga Yuktaha, integrated with yoga, meaning the lamp, even when the lamp is lit, over a period of time, every day the lamp needs to be cleaned. So karma yoga cannot be given up, even if it is by the sannyasi, or even if it is by the ordinary human being also who thinks that they can be in the state of sannyasa. Karma yoga cannot be given up completely because the body is still there, the mind is still there, and the day-to-day interaction is happening with the world. He is not dead and gone, or he is not disappeared from the world. The body is still there. So yoga yuktaha, integrated with yoga means, there was a Swamiji, somebody was asking that Swamiji, should we practice yoga every day? The Swamiji said, why don't you ask this question, should I eat every day? If we don't need to eat, if we don't need one bit from this world of 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air and space, any one bit also we don't need, then we don't need to do any sadhana. Till we are requiring material things from the world for our day-to-day existence, we have to do sadhana. Yoga yukto vishuddha atma, vijita atma, jita indriyaha. Vishuddha atma, very pure, integrated personality, a bright lamp. Vijita atma. Vijita atma in the lamp language is very beautiful, a controlled lamp. Lamps can burn in many ways. It can be like my mother used to say, don't light the lamp like a teepandam. Teevetti means a firebrand, no stick. Don't like, the lamp should be lit very beautifully. The wick, it is a very beautiful process. All this is karma yoga actually. How to light a lamp very beautifully is a karma yoga. Nowadays, our hands, all the karma yoga that we are doing is punching on the mobile phone and the laptop, swiping. This is our karma yoga. You see the kind of addiction that people are having to, they are not able to do any other work without the laptop and without the mobile phone. Their life is actually, the life is connected to the Wi-Fi. Their life energy and the Wi-Fi only is life for them. Their life is not life enough. We have to have Wi-Fi. If that is not there, they are not able to live their lives. That is a kind of a karma that is happening in the world today. Vishuddha Atma, Vishuddha is pure, meaning only the light of consciousness. The lamp is pure and bright and shining. Vijita Atma, the controlled light of the lamp, it is not burning haphazardly or shaking in the wind. It is very beautifully, steadily burning. Jita Indriyaha, the lamp is not having any desires of going here and there and grabbing this and that. The lamp cannot do, that's the first thing. But what we say is going and grabbing is we identify with the covering, the dark layer of covering around the lamp identified as the eye. And that is only going after things. That dark layer is having the capacity to go behind things because it is of the nature of darkness. Jita Indriyaha. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Such a person is the self in all. Such a person, kurvan api na lipyate. He may be seen to doing actions, but he is not tainted by actions. When once the intellect is purified, meaning rendered immune to the desired disturbances, the mind, which reflects the condition of the intellect, cannot have any disturbances. Like a signature upon running water, very beautiful example Gurudev gives. Like we put a signature upon running waters, nothing is, you cannot catch anything. In the same way, nothing can ever stay in such a person. Whatever experiences happen, they're all like signature on running waters. In this consciousness of universality and supreme sense of divinity, when a sage acts, what exactly will be his attitude in life? 8th verse and 9th verse. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan shwapan shwasan pralapan visrujan grinhan unmishan nimishan api indriyan indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan naiva kinchit karomi iti. The individual being who has identified himself with that light of consciousness, he understands that he does not do anything. Yuktaha manyeta tattvavita, he knows the tattva of that consciousness. Then he may be seeing Pashyan, Shranvan, Sprushan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Shwapan, Shwasan. He is Pashyan, he is seeing. You can imagine the lamp only. You can imagine that there is a light like a lamp inside, and that light is only you. That light is only I, the light of consciousness.